Well, hello everyone. It is Friday, January the 13th, 2023. I am Dale Delbridge. No Benchmark Realty down here on the shirt today because today is a Friday the 13th special status chat. So before we get too far into it, we got to talk a little bit about last week's conclusion. Actually, it'd be Monday's conclusion to the NCAAF season. And it turned out we had an exciting game in football championship for a few minutes in the first quarter. After that, it turned into all SEC all the time. Now, sometimes do you ever sit back and say, what in the world were they thinking? Well, now we're going to have an expanded playoff season in 2023. And so I think that's the first year, unless they change it, we're going to see probably an SEC in the finals probably for the next foreseeable future, next several years. And that's just the way it is. Now, my heart goes out to the seniors of TCU. I know that that's not how you wanted to end your senior year in football at the college level, but it is football, and that's just the way the game is played. I do appreciate your efforts and your passion for the sport, and we'll move into our middle segment, which we have a special for you today, which is called Yes, Virginia, They Are Californiaing Our Tennessee. So let's get to that. If you like this content, please go to calldale2sell.com, find the tab that says on YouTube, click it, and it'll open up a page of QR codes. There you can use a smartphone to scan and get to the YouTube page, or you can just mouse over and click it on a PC. There you'll be able to subscribe to this little button over here and click the notification bell so that YouTube will notify you when each Friday's blog has been uploaded. Thank you. Now that that's over, let's look at some things, and I have three things I'm going to bring to you today. And as always with a status chat, if I bring you something from the retail source, I like to source it in the description of the status chat over on the YouTube page where you are finding this particular video. Although you might be finding it through the website, calldale2sell.com. You see me above my little head there, Call Dale to Sell, and you have the link behind my ear right there. So you can find it there, or you might find it on Facebook or some other place. But the status chat is on the YouTube channel, and you can find it. If you open up that description, it will give you the links that I use today, because I like to give people credit. Now, if you remember earlier in this year, we were having people that were saying, gosh, Dale, don't be so negative. Don't say anything that's not positive. Don't tell people anything that might scare them away. And my response was always the same. I like to tell the truth. The full and complete truth as best I can do it, and I like to give you the information so that if something does turn a particular direction, that you are fully prepared how to handle that, and that's all we're doing. So let's go look at that left screen and see what I have piped up ready for us to look at. This is from Fox Business, obviously, and we're going to scroll that stuff down to real estate, published January the 13th. That was today at 5 a.m. this morning, our time. And it says, here is your clickbaitery type thing. It says, U.S. real estate market in big trouble, quote marks, experts warn. And this is from Kristen Atlas, if I pronounce that right, at Fox Business. It sure starts out sounding a little negative, because I never use the word or phrase big trouble. Now it says, up here at the top, as the Federal Reserve continues its hawkish market reset, which has contributed to a rise in interest and mortgage rate, that's no surprise if you watch the show, real estate experts are sounding the alarm that big trouble lies ahead for the real estate market. And it says the U.S. market, and we need to pay attention to that, because if you also watch the show, then you know right off the bat, I often comment that all real estate is local, and you have to be real careful when you read your news to see where the news is coming from and what it's about, and to realize that we don't live in a barrel. We're not fish. We don't live in a barrel, and sometimes there are things such as the finance market, the way they work with their mortgage-backed securities that they sell. They are nationwide type thing, but yet our values and things are often set locally. And so there's a mixture of a general, the big umbrella, and the small one that we're under here in Tennessee. So we get back to the story. It's not particularly positive, I will tell you that. But then again, I try not to be either negative or positive. I try to be accurate and truthful. When you have such a rise in interest increase rates like we have had, it's a big problem for housing. Interest rates are like the mother's milk of housing. Pete Poulet, Capital CEO Bill Poulet, told Fox Business. And we're not going to dwell a lot on that. It's just we know that it cuts our buying power. And previous to this downturn, what did we see? We saw we saw home prices go at a certain level until they cut the interest rates, and then suddenly the prices spiked accordingly, because then we could buy a more expensive house, a fancier house, a nicer house, sometimes a bigger house with more amenities and accoutrements with that cheap money that we had. And we knew the cheap money was not going to last forever. Now that the money has gone down, it puts a lot of those homes that were bought at higher prices, when we tack that interest on there, they're just a little harder to grab. And that's just the way business is. And that's not particularly cheery, but that's reality, and that's what I'm here for, is to tell you the truth, not necessarily to blow smoke up your kilt. Okay, we do have something else I do want to talk about before we get to the Californiaing of our Tennessee. We have this right here. Let's take a look. This is from Open Door. See right over here, it says right there, Open Door. And this is from January the 5th, last week I believe it was, a Thursday, because last week's episode was on the 6th. So this was Thursday, written by Chelsea Agoyer, if I pronounced her correctly. Apologies if I didn't. And this says Open Door's 2022's hottest zip codes. This is in retrospect, because this is talking about last year. I'm going to take it at its word that this is what we saw last year alone. Now, let's go on down, and I have a word here highlighted. It says, recently 1/3 of the people across the U.S. told us they would relocate for a lifestyle change. And I've also had people comment, and they say, don't talk politics. And I say, well, I don't talk politics, I talk economics. And unfortunately, the economy is run by our government, which is itself an elected body, and we have it what it is. And that's just the politics in that affects our economy, and it affects our national economy, which affects our local economy. So I'm not talking politics, I talk people-tics and of course economics. So I'm going to slide this down to reveal this very nice little map, emerging top 10 zip codes. And I want you to pay attention to that, because we just saw the word lifestyle, and it's the word lifestyle that I attribute to, because that's how we live, our lifestyle, how we are choosing to live, and we can live under economic conditions in different places, but it's really our lives that drive what we do. So let's look at that again. We have Parker, Colorado. That's here, kind of Midwest, but where do we see most of these? Down here in the Southeast. We have St. Lucie, Florida. We have one California city here, 92101, San Diego. Now, I happen to like San Diego. San Diego is the least California-like big city in California, but it's a beautiful place. In fact, last time I was there, I think it was, I went on a tour of the Star of India, the Maritime Museum that's there in the Bay. I hope it's still there. It's a beautiful city. I like the city, and it just happens to be one of the top 10 zip codes. I'm assuming that there are people that are relocating within California, businesses and people, to stay in California. They are moving to San Diego. But we also have, look right here at number 17, which is above San Diego. That's 17. San Diego is 18. Gallatin, Tennessee, good old Sumner County, 37066. We can reach you at home in Gallatin if you need one. Suwanee, Georgia, Cumming, Georgia, although I think it's sort of like Cheville. The local pronunciation when I lived in Georgia, we always wanted to put an S on the end of Cumming for some reason, but it's Cumming, Georgia, Florida, Texas, Georgia, Texas. So these are the emerging top 10 zip codes. And look where most of them are, Southeast. Now that's a big lifestyle change, I would say. But they said 1/3 of the people are willing to move for a lifestyle. Now I'm not going to go too much in this, but I'm going to pull this next chart up. And look where they all are. Popular zip codes, popular 10, all Southeast. Look at this. Number 10, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Good old Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Well, that's where Grandma lives in 37128. I like Murfreesboro. I live just outside of Murfreesboro, and I avoid some of the traffic, but I have everything I think I could ever want within just a short drive going into Murfreesboro. We pretty well much, I think, have everything. If there's something missing, I don't know what it is, and I'm not perfect, and there might be something, but I'm pretty happy with it. So we also have Texas, Florida, Texas, South Carolina. Look at you, South Carolina, showing up there in the list. Texas, Oklahoma, and Clarksville, Tennessee. Number one. Look at that. Number one, according to Open Door, popular top 10 zip codes, 37042. Benchmark serves Clarksville. We can reach you. We can find you. If you want to come from California, you are more than welcome to do so. I know a lot of times people will say, don't California my Tennessee, and they're doing it sort of as a pejorative, as sort of a negative. And the only thing I would say, and I talk to Californians on a regular basis, I run into them all over, we have a gracious plenty, as great grandma would say, we have a gracious plenty of Californians. Most of them would almost use the term escapees. They're escaping the lifestyle that has developed, and they are loving Middle Tennessee when they come here. And that's why they're moving. Nobody's holding a gun to their head. This is their choice. And we in Middle Tennessee have an obligation to welcome them. We need everybody. We need everybody we can get to come here who appreciates our lifestyle that we have built, our standard of living that we have built here in Middle Tennessee. And I think that's just wonderful. I really do. I don't want to get too real estate or into salesman like, but you're welcome to come here. In fact, if you've got some friends or family from California and you've moved here and you want to bring some more of them here, you know what to do. You got to call Del DeSalle. See right above my little shiny noggin up there, call Del DeSalle. You can find this video there on my website at calldeldesale.com over there by my ear, and you know that this is posted on the YouTube page. So on my YouTube page, you will find each of these links with their full credit in it in the description of the status chat, because that's where the status chat lives. But now I promised you that we are, in fact, Californiaing our Tennessee. And that's where we get to our other news. We're going to close this segment out with that, and here it is. Are you ready? In-N-Out Burger expanding to Tennessee. Fox, Los Angeles, Fox 11, In-N-Out Burger coming to Tennessee. They are Californiaing our Tennessee. This is by Alexa May Asperdine. I think I said her name correct. Apologies if I didn't. Published January the 10th, 2023, and it's reality, baby. In-N-Out's coming. I know a lot of our Texas friends were just excited to find out that Whataburger moved in. In fact, you know, when I was talking about that Murfreesboro, we got us a Whataburger. If you want to get you one, you come to Murfreesboro, Tennessee. It's a hot zip code. You can come get you a Whataburger. We're going to have In-N-Out sometime. We're moving into Tennessee. In fact, they're moving the story. You can read it, or others out there. They're out there. They're moving some of the operations to Franklin, Tennessee, good old Williamson County. So we are, in fact, Californiaing our Tennessee. So it's not what you expected, is it? So Los Angeles, California. In-N-Out Burger is headed to the Volunteer State. Now, isn't that a beautiful line to read? If you like an In-N-Out, if you want your big double, your off-menu items, and you're missing that, and you've moved here from the West Coast, the left coast there, you will soon have your In-N-Out available to you. Now, I imagine they're going to get slammed. Now, if I'm not wrong, In-N-Out will build in twos. They like to build in twos because whenever they open a new location, it gets slammed, so they usually build two at a time. And anyway, In-N-Out currently has restaurants throughout California, Nevada, Arizona, Utah, Colorado, Oregon, and Texas. It competes with Whataburger, with the Lone Star State being its easternmost expansion. Easternmost expansion. Until now. Now it's coming to Tennessee. So we're it, baby. We are the it state. We are the it destination. And you can be here for it if you just call Del DeSalle. You just got to get with me and we'll get something started. Now, that's pretty well much it. I don't want to go too deep in this article. You can find many other notifications of this that mention slightly different versions of it. But we got this from California itself, Los Angeles. And with that, I think we can probably wrap up the middle segment and we'll get to the numbers directly. Hello, I'm Del Delbert of Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. If you are currently unrepresented and would like to know how to compare up to 3 properties side by side and room by room, then go over to my new YouTube channel. Call Del DeSalle. That's one L and Del, no spaces. Watch the demo on Real Scout, and then call me and we'll set up your exclusive ad-free account today. Well, I made the transition back to Studio K, and you'll notice I still have my Friday the 13th stuff here. Don't pay any attention to the fact that it says Purdue up here, because I am from Tennessee. But this is our Friday the 13th special edition, and I will, of course, have your numbers right here. Now, you remember last week was the week of the 6th, and we had 17,013 opportunities in the Real Scout system. That was down over the previous period, which was a couple weeks back because we took off for Christmas and New Year's. And we had 2674 in the under contract still showing. Both of those numbers dipped slightly, but it maintained a 16% ratio between those two numbers from the previous period. And that was a couple weeks back. So we're going to assume we're pretty well much keeping a steady state of business. This week, Friday the 13th, January 2023, we had 17,292 in the opportunities in Real Scout system, and that's up a little bit over the previous period. 2811 were the under contracts still showing, and they came also up just a tad, and the ratio remains steady at 16%. So we're seeing a little bit of volume increase as we start to head toward the green season. And the green season is not here yet. We haven't hit spring. We have the rest of January and February before we start really kind of getting that itch to get outside. It takes a little bit of while for us to get our cabin fever and get ready to get out and get going. And things do show and present well when things are green and pretty versus when they're a little bit on the gray side. Remember, we have the money season, the green season can also represent the trees and whatnot, but we also have the gray season when things slow down, and real estate is all cyclical. And remember, when I bring this to you, I try to give you a balanced approach. I don't try to be negative, I don't try to be positive, I just try to tell you the truth as I know it to be, and I am not infallible. So I do want to leave one last little thought in case I didn't mention it before. If you're from California and you have friends in California and you love it here in Tennessee, maybe even in 37128, I invite you to call Delta Cell. Share me with your California friends, and we'll find them a place. We'll get them here. We'll find them a place, and I will personally welcome them to Middle Tennessee. I appreciate you watching, and just remember, there is no North Pole without a South Pole, no warm without a cold, no good without bad. Things, we have to have opposites, and we need to know where we are, somewhere in the middle. And the middle is a good place to be. As in Tennessee, Middle Tennessee is a good place to be. Appreciate you. Appreciate you watching. Share me with your friends. Thank you.